How customer-centric have you been through this process in terms of following the customer data?
During our R&D sessions, beyond just going to the customer, we bring in stakeholders and have conversations with them and say, what do you think we can do for you? We see this problem exists, this intersection and this intersection. Can we close the gaps? And what do you think that can be, a solution point to this? And then they give us all of the information that we need, all of that needed experience that they anticipate. We take that experience back, into the studio and say, or into the lab and say, okay, guys, this customer is thinking from this point. For example, PaySonet. And when he came, he wanted to compete with MoneyPoint. You can't compete with MoneyPoint at this level right now because we are still they've gone far. So one thing we can do differently is let's go back to the customers and ask them, what is the point not giving you through this same service? When you call yourself a venture studio, you should be able to look at the verticals where there are breakpoints. And when you look at those breakpoints, you pick those breakpoints as your own, problem fits. You understand? For you to be able to now get into the product market fit. So for us, we are more about, let's look at the problem areas and can we turn those problem areas within existing verticals to solutions that in that same vertical, we are dominating what we call market category. You understand? So we are not dominating the market.
So you would say that your major strategy was differentiation. You wanted to differentiate,
exactly.
You wanted to do that via innovation. Then to innovate, you had to innovate along the lines of the customer pain point.
Exactly.
Not necessarily what is already obtainable in terms of existing product.
Exactly. You get.
So how successful would you say you've been with all this, in terms of venture building, service provision? How successful in it?
So I think that the first way that I want to measure our success is that we are getting a type of model right, which is a venture studio model. We are very well on the path of institutionalizing that model. And not that we have gotten to the part of that part right now, but when you set the foundations for something, you know that you just have to continue to consolidate, right? So one, we have been able to get the model right. We know that it begins from ideation.